Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Good evening, and welcome to another live stream. Let me introduce myself. My name is Waveney, and I am a leadership coach. I help new managers develop leadership influence by mastering their relationships at work and leveraging their communication skills. And this for the next few days and into next week, I am online and let me check here. I'm online and I'm on live stream sharing some topics, sharing some thoughts about uh, leadership, sharing some topics for new managers, some things that you may not have thought about, but you should consider. New managers are at risk, or if you are transitioning to another industry, maybe COVID has um, really, you know, kind of make you, lose your job. Um, you've lost your job, and so COVID has done that, and you are between industries. I just saw the blanked out there because I heard a car and someone is live stream is something else, right? Um, so I got a flat this morning, and someone is supposed to bring me my car, right? And I before I went on the live stream, I'm like, please don't come at this time. I'll let you know when to come because I'm going on live stream. So I just heard a car door. It could be the neighbors, right? And I'm like, I hope they have read that message. So I sort of blanked out. That's the thing about live stream. It's not perfect. It's not perfect all the time. So when you see people making it all perfect, life isn't perfect, and your leadership, your leading won't be perfect, right? Just before I came on, though, I was thinking about how excited I was to come on live stream and to share. And I remembered, I started to smile because I remembered when I first decided to go live, and I was scared out of my mind. Like, I had to really psych up myself. I really had to do a lot of mental work um, because it's scary, right? But the thing is, if you show up, and you can use this example even in your leadership, um, people, this is not the topic, but this is something that I have learned from my experience. Um, we have a tendency to want to appear perfect, right? And by doing that, we put ourselves in an uncomfortable position because we want to appear perfect. And by doing that, we make the people around us uncomfortable as well because we appear as this um, perfect, all knowing, all doing uh, person who knows everything. And by doing that, we don't realize that people don't want perfection. People just want authentic. So if it's one thing that you're going to get from me is being authentic and being real. Being authentic and being real. And never be afraid to admit that you make a mistake in when you leave. Never be afraid or ashamed to say I'm sorry, or I don't know, um, but I'll find out. Never ever be afraid to be authentic. So I really hope that if nothing else resonates with you on this live stream, I really hope that that message resonates with you, right? And maybe I blanked out like that because you needed to hear this message, right? I believe everything happens for a reason. So, I have been last week, um, I touched on different topics. This week, well, yesterday I spoke about how important your interpersonal skills, you developing people skills were, because your work is done through people and you need um, people skills, and you need to develop those if you want to be a success. I shared um, some statistics that there are studies that show that leaders who have high a high degree of um, people skills, if I should put it that way, a high level of people skills or skilled at people skills, um, that they succeed. And technical skills are important, but people skills are where it's at. And it's not to say, or it's not to discount the fact that you shouldn't know what you're doing. You shouldn't know about how to run that report. You shouldn't know how to use Excel or Word or whatever. But at the same time, for many persons that get into leadership roles, we always feel like we have to know every single thing about the job. We need to know every nook and cranny. And granted, there are some jobs that you really need to have a great understanding of what's going on. But for the most part, your people skills are what will pull you through. And so this evening, I want to talk to you about, and I'm asking the question in my topic, are you practicing petty leadership? Are you practicing petty leadership? So, what is that? So, I'm going to give you just a thought that some new managers have. This may be you. And if it's you, that's okay. That's why we're all here. That's why I'm doing this. This is why the people's brand exists. It is for you to learn and grow. Something I forgot to mention last evening. For those of you who may see me looking this way, and if I'm looking this way, I am live simultaneously both on Facebook and Instagram. So I say it because I've had a few people that said you're not looking directly, and I've had to say yes, I know that because I am going live simultaneously. So some managers have the mindset that, you know, um, I have done, I do this for my employees, this, whatever this is, you know, I did X for them, I did Y for them, I gave them the time off, I allowed them to leave early, I was flexible, um, I overlook, and some managers would even go as far as to say, um, I overlooked so many mistakes. I could have documented them. I could have done this. I could have done that. I got them promoted. I was the one responsible for getting them that promotion when they were in that position, all the while they were being bypassed. So they should respect me, they should like me, they should do what I say, they shouldn't oppose me or disagree with me, because I've done all this for them. I'm the manager. And you may or may not be, maybe you're not that person, or maybe you don't think that way. Um, in one of the categories, but maybe you feel, and I would throw out this to you, you really need to question yourself if you really think that way, because sometimes deep inside, we feel that people should have this blind loyalty to us as leaders, new managers. Um, feel this way, that people should have this blind loyalty because we've done X and Y for them, because we're the leader, for those hosts of reasons. Um, you may deeply and truly think that without consciously, you know, knowing, okay? Or you may consciously know that. You may be one of those persons that say, yeah, I did this for them. And people don't people don't follow us because we're leaders. People don't do that. And somebody needs to tell you that, right? People just don't like and respect you by virtue of your title, okay? People don't respect you, people don't follow you because of what you did for them, that you gave them that time, that you gave them that promotion. It doesn't work like that, right? And there's some people that their intention, their motive is really for the team to like them and not necessarily for the development of that individual. So really you are promoting, you're pushing, and I've seen it. Those of you know that I have an HR background, so I've seen it and heard it all. There might be, a new manager comes in, and there might be this particular staff that has been, really performing. They promote them, and you have to ask yourself, why are you doing that? They do it because they want to look good. They want it to be a feather in their cap, right? So you have a savior complex. Your intention is for it really to be all about you. You've given them that time off, right? You've done this, you've done that. It's really all about you. And these things happen, right? Um, and these types of actions by leaders are fueled by ego. It is really all about your ego, your feather in your cap. And of course, as managers, you are one of the hallmarks of a great leader is developing others. And you want to do that, but you have to do it for the right reasons. You can't do it because it's about you and you expect a blind type of loyalty, right? So your actions are fueled by ego. You want to win, you want to be seen. I have my notes here. You want to be seen as that person that came in and saved the day or came in and did this and that for that team, right? But your need to be liked, your need to be liked is overriding your common sense. And this is something that, you know, we have to be careful about. New, old managers, people who have been doing this for years, ego has a way of being sneaky and coming into the equation, which is why I'm a big fan of reflection. I'm a fan of reflecting as a tool for growth to keep yourself in check. I'm a fan of asking for feedback to keep yourself in check. So you need to be like is overriding your common sense because you feel like you've done all these things for your team and therefore they should like and respect you. But when you really peel back the onion and the layers of it all, it's really about being manipulative. You're only pushing and trying to develop this person, and you're only consenting to give them the time off, not for the good of that person, but because you are, in essence, you want something back from them. And I want to, you know, set the foundation for new leaders that if you're going to go into this thing with this mindset, you're going to fail. I am sorry. You can only get so far for so long with these types of habits because they show up. They show up in many different ways, right? So how do I know that this is the case? It's because you start a lot of your sentences with I. I did this. I did that. I was the one who did this. I. And this is something you have to guard against because you're not a one man show. You are now a team. You are now thinking differently. Your mindset should be different. Last week I did um, a live stream and I called it "You Are Not the Same." You are not the same. And when you are a manager, when it's a mindset shift. If you wanna excel, and I think I said it last night, it may be, if you wanna excel at anything, if you want to make changes in your life positively, if you want to take it to another level, you just want to elevate any sort of elevation, whether personally or professionally, will will the, you will need to change your mindset. You cannot grow, you cannot develop, you cannot elevate, sorry, at the same thinking that you are currently. Marshall Goldsmith, and I've said it a million times because I love, love, love that quote. Marshall Goldsmith says, and he's a famous coach, he says, "What got you here won't get you there." And he was correct. The same skills, the same mindset that got you in that position is not going to get you to where you want to go. So this I thinking has to shift, and you have to be mindful of it. That is why getting into being a manager, getting into management, being a leader, it is, I feel it like it's a calling. I feel like you have to know what you're doing, right? You have to put some thought into it because more is expected of you. And so everything is about you, it's an I thing. And what usually happens is if you don't have a proper foundation, is you start to get offended. You'll get offended. How do you know that you're being manipulative? How do you know this is really ego? Because you're doing X because you really want Y. If you're not consciously doing it, how do you know you're subconsciously doing it? Because you're gonna start to get offended by when people mess up. So you're going to start to take it personal. If you promoted this person and they make a mistake, you're going to take it personal. You hear managers say things like this person is ungrateful. Um, if they perform poorly, or maybe they, like I mentioned, they made a mistake, or maybe something is going on. Um, you you hear managers, people saying things like, after all I did, I came in here, I did this, I did that, after all I did for him and her, this is how they operate. These are phrases that indicate that it was really all about you, and it had really and truly nothing to do with the development of the individual, right? So the playing field is uneven because you're doing whatever. You say you're the manager, you say you're the leader, you say you have the person's best interest at heart, but the playing field is uneven because if they make a mistake, if something goes wrong, then you you operate differently. Or if you don't like the employee, you withhold praise or recognition or benefits, the same benefits that are afforded to your best performers are not afforded to them. And you're on a score keeping tangent. You're keeping score of things. And, you might be listening to this and saying, wow, this is not me. I don't do this. But I want to challenge you to ask yourself, have you ever done this? Have you ever thought about this? Right? Um, Consciously or subconsciously, right? Um, this is how people bring politics into the workplace. This is how they change the culture of the teams and the environment. When you have a leader that's a scorekeeper or who only is really interested in the development of others because of what they're getting or they expect people to follow them, you're introducing politics into the work environment and you're not sticking to the values of the organization. You're not you don't have any values. I don't know what your values are. Maybe your value is power by any means necessary, right? Um, in my communicator influence program, I have a quiz where you can take that, can helps you to recognize what your values are. And going into your leadership, you need to understand what that is, because if you are in an environment that is about power, that doesn't care about people, then and you care about people, the dynamics are going to be different, right? Or if you are an individual that is just only people, I shouldn't say you, because I want to believe the people that listen to the people's brand, the people that follows the people's brand, they're people that want to do well. You want to do well. You want to leave a legacy. You see leadership as a way to serve, right? And you just want to do a great job. Um, this is who the people's brand is for. So you don't some people don't play by those rules, right? You you're doing to get, instead of being that coach, instead of holding people accountable, instead of really and truly supporting people, instead of being responsible, you know you are going into a different realm of leadership, which is really a bad leader, right? And so we have to be careful that we don't bring that personal feeling into it. And I want to go back to last evening, um, where I speak about people skills, and I spoke about it in general, but this is where your people skills come in, because wrapped up in people skills is something that this issue, this topic, sorry, it's not an issue, this topic of emotional intelligence. And this is something that new leaders need to hone in on. You need to develop your emotional intelligence. And your emotional intelligence is really about how um, you understand your emotions. It's all about self-awareness, understanding what your triggers are, right? Understanding how you affect others, understanding what your social interactions are like and your relationships are like. But you can only understand that, and you can only get into that if you really learn, if you really focus on your people skills, right? Otherwise, you will be sitting in your feelings, being offended, thinking, having the mindset that, listen, I did this for this person. And it comes across very, very subtle, right? I did this for this person. And can you believe it? This is how they reward me. It's not about you. It is not about you. You need to stick to the script. You need to stick to the formula. You need to stick to the pathway of being a leader. And don't get me wrong, you will be disappointed. People will disappoint you. People will betray you, of course. We're dealing with humans, we're managing humans. You're going to have all these things, but you really need to develop your people skills, high levels of emotional intelligence, really being aware of how you show up, of how your feelings show up, what your triggers are, so that you don't um, perpetuate being a bad leader. Some of us, we've had horrible bosses and we swear that we will never be a horrible boss. But the little things we practice, the little things we do and say, it really, when you look at it, it's petty leadership. So the question is, are you being petty? Because that is being petty. Your job is to support, is to coach, is to hold people accountable. But if you don't have the tools to do so, um, if you're not getting that feedback, if you're not putting yourself in a position to learn and to grow, then you could be practicing petty leadership. And I want to say, if you have someone, if you have a friend that's going into a leadership role, share this video with them. You know, share this live stream with them. Let them listen to it. And so, you, instead of creating a culture of strong leadership, instead of really creating a culture and an environment where people can thrive, where people feel supported, um, you're not doing that. You want to create a culture where you walk your talk. And like I mentioned at the beginning, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes, but um, there are ways to recover from that. You want to create an environment where people are treated fairly, or you're doing your best to create that, right? You want to create an environment and you want to learn and develop yourself where the rules of your leading does not depend on which day of the week it is. It doesn't, for us ladies, it doesn't depend on um, the time of the month, right? We don't want to do that. You don't want to have um, you don't want to show up and you don't want to lead depending on who, which person you are interacting with. All of this creates an unhealthy work environment. And sometimes, we can identify the bad. We can do that. It's a skill, it's a human skill, right? We could identify all the things that are wrong in others, but we can never identify it in ourselves. And we have to be mindful. Like I said, sometimes you may not be aware that you are being petty. But if you're having those feelings, after all I did for this person, or I did this, so they should do that, you're being petty and you're on your way to being that way. And another thing with emotional intelligence is that it it helps you if you really focus on that, if you really focus on your people skills, it will really, and you're serious about your development, you really will work on being for you, you will really work on that. um what do I want to say? You would really work on not being petty, because I can tell you, as a leader, there are instances where you're in authority, you have the power to say yes or no, um, and that sort of thing. But what are you going to do? Are you going to be overruled by, overrun, or taken over by your pettiness? Or are you going to really rise to the occasion and really lead as an influential leader? So, emotional intelligence is it? Is it? Okay. Um, when you lead in this way, like this petty leadership, you really um, destroy trust within your team. And once the trust is gone, then it is hard to regain. And trust is sacred, especially in teams. Trust is sacred. And when leaders, I've seen when leaders behave like that, when they say things like that, um, they really, they may not say to the person themselves, they may say to someone else, but always remember that you're on stage. It's like whenever you sign that offer letter, whenever you sign that dotted line, it's like a huge floodlight spotlight goes on you. Your staff, your employees, everybody could tell you, well, if you're a manager, why are you behaving like that? Why did my manager say this? Well, they should know different. They should be different, right? They should know better. Um, and so we really have to be mindful that we are not having unrealistic expectations, being petty in our leading by those simple things that we're saying or we're expecting, because it's an unrealistic expectation. And people have those expectations when they don't know. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Sometimes we've picked up bad leadership habits from people without even knowing. We may see people something work for someone, and without knowing or having all the answers, we try to emulate, we try to do certain things, and we just go down a path. And so if you are in a leadership role, if you're leading people, if you're supervising people, if people report to you, um, you need to develop yourself. These are things that happen. You know, people spend 8 hours a day at work and more. And for them to have a leader that is petty is just heartbreaking. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be the leader that people are walking around eggshells and people are thinking, well, I better behave that way, or I better do this, or I better do that because um, then this person will react this way. You don't want to be that person. And so I want to invite you. Um, if you don't want to be that person, and I know you don't want to be that person because you are listening to the people's brand, you're following me here at the people's brand, I have a coaching program. It's called Communicate to Influence. I'm going to encourage you to schedule your consultation call with me. Let's see if you're a right fit for the program. Like I said, I've been doing human resources for many years. What is it, 16, 17 years? I'm in HR and I've seen it all. And these are the things that really destroy companies. And it sounds very simple, but over time, left unchecked, um, then it's like a cancer. It spreads. People don't trust um, you as a leader. People don't trust the organization because I can tell you, employees always feel that management, senior management, agrees with whatever is going on. And sometimes you have some leaders that it's almost as if they are masters of making some employees feel like, yeah, everything's like, it doesn't matter if you go and say whatever, I've got this locked. You don't want to be that. You don't want to have the perception of that. You want to be an influential leader, right? And so, communicator influence, I designed this coaching program just for new managers and for people who are as well transitioning in a different industry, right? And so schedule a consultation call, the links in the bio, um, and let's chat how I can assist you. And so thank you. This is my message tonight. Are you practicing petty leadership? Maybe you've never seen it from this angle. Maybe you've never thought about it, but this is a way that managers show up as being petty. Um, I will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me, and share this out with any friends or family, anyone who you feel would benefit from this live stream. Share it out, and I'll talk to you tomorrow at around the same time. Um, just in case, at the same time, um, if the time changes, I will let you know. I will talk to you soon. Bye.